This is the Book Club for Kids podcast. Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. Last week, we discussed Dork Diaries, Tales from a Not-So-Posh Paris Adventure by Rachel Renée Russell with illustrations from her daughter, Nikki Russell. This week, we continue the conversation with this best-selling duo.
You are my first mother-daughter writing or book production team I've ever talked to. Now, if my mother and I were working together, I would have killed her by now. So talk to me about how does it work working with your mother, working with your daughter to create something?
Nikki is a teacher, and Nikki, obviously she's my daughter, so she's kind of more in touch with, she's closer to 14 than I am. Okay, I will tell you what I am. So in working with her, sometimes we'll have a disagreement on something and I will listen to her because of that reason. And again, that's not saying older people can't whatever, but I'm not on TikTok. I'm not playing Sims, and I'm not on the internet 8 hours a day. So obviously she's more tuned in and hooked in with pop culture and, kids than I am now. I was on the internet and doing all that. And then as an older woman, so I don't want to get into the thing, well, younger people do it better than or older women are washed up. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that due to her age and what her priorities are in life and what my priorities are in life, I will not be, I won't spend 4 hours playing Sims or on the internet and all that stuff. So when we do have disagreements, I do take what she says seriously because, again, she is more hooked in and she's an elementary school teacher. So sometimes I might write something and she's like, well, Mom, that probably might be a little harsh, or it might be inappropriate, not inappropriate in a bad way, but inappropriate that they may not understand it. Or anyway, so as a teacher, she brings to Dork Diaries her experiences as a young person and her experiences as a teacher and being professionally trained to, do the best thing for children as students. So I do take what she says very serious. Sometimes we do have arguments. If it's a writer thing or publishing thing, then I tend to win those. But if it's like what's cool, what's not, and what, based on the teaching profession would be something acceptable for a child, she wins those arguments.
There are perks to having your mom as a boss. If I get tired, she lets me take a nap. If I get a cold, she says, you're too sick to work. You need to go home and eat soup and go back to bed. And even when I say, I'm fine, Mom, I'll get through the day somehow, she'll say, go home right now or you're fired.
I'll take the temperature. Yeah, the temperature. She's like, Mom, I just worked out. Are you sure? You feel kind of hot. Maybe it's not that you ran 2 miles in 80-degree weather in the sunshine. But overall, we get along really well because it's going on, 15 years now? So 15 years. And I love my job. And
I agree.
Yeah, thank you. And she does do the nap thing. We have we're launching a Dork Diary store, and we'll put a little plug in for that in the next month or so. And we have these beautiful comforters that have a Nikki Maxwell on the cover. As a matter of fact, I took it off of this book cover here. So Nikki has a comforter in her office that looks like this, and it's really fuzzy and soft. So sometimes, and her office is pink as well. So when she's like really tired, I'll let her take a nap, and sometimes I'll go peek in her office and she's snuggled under her Dork Diaries blanket that's pink, sleeping in her pink art studio. And I'm like, oh, my daughter's so wonderful. That's a scene we should put in the book, maybe, with Nikki Maxwell takes a nap in a pink room with a pink blanket.
Generally, if you have a book with illustrations, what happens is you write the book and then they find the illustrator and they work after you have already finished the manuscript. So how does it work for you two? Nikki, do you get in with pitching ideas? Is there a give and take? Are you involved at the beginning? How does it work?
So my mom is very collaborative. She allows me to be part of the writing process. She even sometimes asks me questions on what should go in the book. And it's like a cycle. She will give me art instructions based on something she just wrote and give it to me. I will create artwork for it, and then I give it back to her, and it inspires her writing so that she's able to write again. And then again, she gives me artwork. We pass it back and forth like a cycle.
And we actually do this based on chapters. So I'll tell you a little bit of this first. Dork Diaries is a diary, so there's usually 30 diary entries or 31, or if it's February 28 or whatever. So each book has a diary entry for every day. So that means most books are like 30 chapters. So I'll write the first chapter, and I'll put art instructions in my head, what I think is going on. And then I give her that chapter, and then she illustrates it, and then I get it back. My mind is blown. So I go back and rewrite the whole thing, and it's better. And then I give it back to her, and then she tweaks her artwork. And we do that for chapter 1. So then we move to chapter 2, and I make a written draft, and I just, pull stuff out of my imagination. Why don't we have her doing this on this page and this, which we call art instructions. I give it to Nikki. She does the artwork. My mind is blown again, and I rewrite the whole chapter. So that's how we go. And we do this like 30 times for every book until the book is done. So it's very, very collaborative to the point where we're passing the manuscripts back and forth for every single chapter.
All right, you were a bankruptcy attorney. So tell me how writing legal briefs informed your writing for a much younger audience.
The two are nothing alike. The only thing I can think of that I learned from legal writing is the discipline, because legal writing is very, very boring. It's usually some other person's problem because they hired you to be on it, or you work for a law firm, and then of course they'll give you something that's like totally boring that you don't want to do, but you have to because that's your job. So I think the biggest thing I learned from being an attorney and doing legal writing is discipline. So you write when you're tired, you write when you're not inspired, you write when you think you can't write, you write when you have writer's block or you try to write, and you just hang in there and keep doing it. And then in the end, it gets done. But with Dork Diaries, it's obviously a lot more interesting and fun and funny than it was doing any legal writing at all. But I think I'm very disciplined, and I can crank out chapters very quickly. That's why we should be taking 6 months to write a book, but we can do it in 2 months because of my legal writing background. You just get in there and plow through it, get your first draft done, and then go back and make it presentable.
Any advice for other mother-daughter or father-son or brother-sister writing teams?
Keep an open mind and try to listen to each other's feedback, and then try to meet each other halfway. You may not always agree on everything, but it is a collaborative process, and you just hang in there and try to find things to agree on, and just pay attention to your work relationship. If things for the most part go smoothly, then you can do it. If things do not, then you may want to consider other options. And that happens sometimes too.
And even speaking of doing your own thing, I'm so looking forward to Nikki publishing her own book, or book series. And so she's an illustrator, and she's also a very talented writer. So that's something that we were even kind of looking forward to before COVID hit, was she has ideas and artwork and samples and stuff that she has put together for her own series. So one day that's going to happen, hopefully in the next year or two.
Thanks, Nikki and Renee. We have conversations with dozens of other writers at our website, bookclubforkids.org, on our Writers on Writing page. This episode is supported by the LA County Department of Arts and Culture as part of Creative Recovery LA, an initiative funded by the American Rescue Plan. Thank you.